Welcome to today's video about OGEA-101 TOGAF Enterprise Architecture Part 1 Exam Prep. OGEA-101 TOGAF Enterprise Architecture Part 1 Exam. TOGAF Enterprise Architecture Learning Path. OGEA-101 Exam Structure. OGEA-101 Key Exam Topics. Preparation Strategies for Exam Success. 1. Which of the following is included as part of the practice of architecture governance? A. Interacting with the CXO level on enterprise architecture. B. Implementation of controls over the creation of architectural components. C. Creating and maintaining the statement of architecture work throughout the Admiral cycle. D. Managing stakeholders, their concerns, and their requirements. 2. Which of the following best describes the TOGAF architecture development method? A. A classification mechanism for architectures and solutions. B. A process for managing architecture requirements. C. A technique to assess readiness for change. D. A repeatable process for developing architectures. 3. Which of the following is the application of the concepts of risk assessment and risk analysis in the decision-making process? A. Information security management. B. Security governance. C. Risk management. D. Security architecture. 4. Which statement best describes the main purpose of the TOGAF content framework? A. To address IT system concerns relevant to an enterprise. B. To store the artifacts identified in the architecture repository. C. To drive consistency in the outputs when following the Admiral. D. To prevent gaps in the target architecture deliverable set. 5. Which of the following is a responsibility of an architecture board? A. Determining the scope of an architecture compliance review. B. Allocating resources for architecture projects. C. Conducting assessments of the maturity level of architecture discipline within the organization. D. Achieving consistency between sub-architectures. 6. Which of the following describes how the enterprise continuum is used when developing an enterprise architecture? A. To identify and understand business requirements. B. To coordinate with the other management frameworks in use. C. To describe how an architecture addresses stakeholder concerns. D. To classify architecture and solution assets. 7. Which of the following best describes the purpose of the gap analysis technique? A. To govern the architecture throughout its implementation process. B. To develop a set of general rules and guidelines for the architecture. C. To identify items omitted from the target architecture. D. To allocate resources for architecture projects. 8. Which of the following is a responsibility of an architecture board? A. Conducting assessments of the maturity level of architecture discipline within the organization. B. Allocating resources for architecture projects. C. Creating the statement of architecture work. D. Establishing targets for reuse of components. 9. Which of the following supports the need to govern enterprise architecture? A. The architecture project mandates the governance of the target architecture. B. The TOGAF standard cannot be used without executive governance. C. Best practice governance enables the organization to control value realization. D. The stakeholders' preferences may go beyond the architecture project scope and needs control. 10. What is an objective of the Admiral Implementation Governance Phase? A. To provide continual monitoring of the governance framework. B. To ensure conformance for the target architecture. C. To finalize the implementation and migration plan. D. To establish the resources for architecture governance. Check the correct answers for each question. Subscribe PASSERT for more IT exam prep.